Hello, everyone, and welcome to Finding the Guardian of Your Soul. I'm Lisa Shield, and I have been a love coach for over 20 years now. It has been the most exciting thing I could ever imagine in my entire life to do this work. I stumbled on it. Wow, I was getting my master's degree in spiritual psychology. It's no longer there, but it was at the University of Santa Monica in California, near Los Angeles, where I was living. And yeah, I met the love of my life while I was doing this work. And I wanted to show other women how to find true love because this had been so hard for me. It was not an easy thing. And I look at some other women, growing up, I just thought, wow, it's so easy for other women to engage male attention. And maybe I could have engaged it. I guess I could have. But I was so uncomfortable and awkward around men. I really didn't know how to connect with them. And I didn't know what to do with male attention. And so I think I pushed it away when it came toward me, or I begged for it when it didn't. So, yeah, it was not good. Anyway, I got out there. Internet dating was a new thing at the time. And I was relentless. I was just going to go on as many dates as I had to go on. But I was going to find my guy, and I did. And then, there weren't love coaches at the time. There weren't. Coaching was hardly a thing. I'd barely heard about life coaching. And it was my husband who looked at me one day and said, about 3 months into our relationship, he looked at me and he said, "You should be a coach or a therapist." And I asked him why, and he said, because that's all you talk about is personal transformation. It's your passion. You may have been interested in importing at one time, but this is really what you're passionate about now. So I sold my importing business to an ex-boyfriend, and here I am 20 years later. Today, I want to talk to you about if I'm such a catch, why hasn't anyone caught me? And I think that is a question that a lot of you need to ask yourselves, because I talk to so many women on calls who are so fabulous, and they are so sure of how fabulous they are. And don't get me wrong. I mean, wow, women today are remarkable. We're extraordinary. What we can do, what we've done, the careers that we have, the ability to provide for ourselves, and not to need a man to get by in the world. It's extraordinary. And women are CEOs of companies, and we're outpacing men in universities and advanced degrees. It's incredible in the sciences and in mathematics, all kinds of fields that were male dominated. We are stretching in every direction, and that's extraordinary. It really is. It's amazing. I myself am so proud of growing up in an era where I was able to do those things myself, have my own career, live on my own, not have to get married like my mother did, leave her parents' house, go to college, and then get married and have babies and live happily ever after. Yeah, right. That didn't work out so well for them. And I got to pave my own way in the world without all of those restrictions. So as women today, we should be very, very, very proud of our freedoms, our accomplishments, and who we are and how capable we are. The problem with all of that is men don't have to switch roles. Men don't have to be both in touch with their feminine and their masculine sides. In fact, we want men to open up and communicate with us, but we don't want men to be women. The problem is women often have to become very masculine to have the high-powered careers that they have, to be single mothers and care for children on their own, to do a lot of the things that we've had to do as women today. A lot of us have developed this very, 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 very dominant, predominant, masculine side of our personalities. And it's really suffocated that feminine side of us, the part of us that men come to us for. I shared on a Q&A call yesterday with one of my groups that if you think about it, two men that are hanging out together, they are not talking about feelings. They are not opening up to each other and talking about their feelings and what's happening emotionally and all. Men do not do that with other men. So think about this. If you're showing up, you could look beautiful. You could have, a silk blouse on and be very feminine in the way you appear. You've got long hair, you're wearing, jewelry, and you look cute as heck, right? But you're exuding masculine energy. You're sitting across from this man and you're up in your head and you've got your checklist, because you're like, you're a girl who wants to get things done. You don't want to worry. You don't want to waste time. You don't want to have to go on a million dates with guys, that aren't a fit. You just want to get it done, one and done, and move on and find your guy. You don't want to go on a whole bunch of dates to have to do this. And he can feel that you're handling this date like a business transaction. If you're sitting there and you're exuding a bunch of male energy, he's going to treat you like any other man. He's not going to have an emotional connection. He's not going to feel inclined. Maybe if he's a gentleman, he'll buy you dinner because that's what a gentleman does. But he's not going to necessarily want to ask you out on another date. He's not going to open up to you emotionally, and there's not going to be a real connection. Men are looking for women who live in their hearts and who know how to bring them into their hearts. So that's what we do for men. Men have gifts that they bring to us so that we can let our feminine side show. They're protectors. They can be providers. They can be our heroes. They can cherish and adore us. So men, when they show up and they're in their masculine, they are able to do all of those things for us, but we have to show up in a way that will allow a man and invite a man to want to do those things. So you may be a great catch on paper, just like we've all met men who seemed great on paper. But once we got up close and personal, we realized, my God, he's lacking self-esteem. He's a pleaser. He doesn't have any charisma. And so in those situations, we're turned off. We don't feel feminine with those guys, right? It doesn't bring out that feminine side of us because he's not being heroic. He's not taking charge. He's not being our knight in shining armor. And we don't feel very feminine. And yeah, we may go on a few dates, because we're not sure, because he does look good on paper. But nothing's going to spark because he never connects with our feminine essence. And we can't bring that side out of us or out when we're with a guy who isn't masculine and who we don't feel that masculine pull from. It's the same for guys. If you're showing up and you're in your head and you're talking about business, or you're looking, you're checking things off that checklist, you're asking questions that feels like an interview, you're not being playful and fun and inviting, that man isn't going to connect with you. And you can be the most beautiful, fit, stunning woman in the room, but he's not going to be interested and want to date you if he's a really great masculine man, because you're not bringing out his masculine side. There's a lot of other reasons why men aren't picking some of us. Maybe there's an air of entitlement. A lot of women today, because we're so accomplished, because we have high, it's not even that you're so picky. It's just that you just have these high expectations. You have high expectations. And it's the expectations, that word, that you expect certain things, that really men can feel a sense of entitlement. And when men meet women who they feel are entitled, again, it doesn't bring out their masculine side, because they feel like they're going to constantly be jumping through hoops to try to make us happy. And they're never going to be able to do that. And it's just going to be this constant, effort to try to win you over, to try to please you, to try to figure out what you really want. And that gets exhausting. And a lot of men, especially older men who have been through enough relationships, they weed those women out very quickly. They want women who are easier to please, not saying you don't have boundaries and you just sit there and say yes and thank you and oh my gosh, that was great. No, not that either. But they want women who are appreciative, who are grateful, and who they can impress. Not a woman who's been there, done that, has it all together. If he says, oh, I went to Dubai last year on business and it was really something to see Dubai, and you go, oh yeah, my company sent me to Dubai 4 times last year, the wind is going to go out of that man's sails in a second. And believe me, there is almost no coming back from a comment like that, especially early on in dating. So some of you might be listening and thinking, wow, these men need to man up, right? Like they should man up. I mean, a guy can't take that. Well, sure, he can take it. Most men aren't going to let you see the wind go out of their sails when you make a comment like that. But that man is going to go home and he's never going to call you again, because he doesn't want to deal with a woman who doesn't build him up and say, wow, Dubai, what was that like? Did you love it? Tell me about it. What was your experience? And then she may say, I actually went to Dubai, and I agree with you. It was extraordinary. I by the way, have never been to Dubai. It's not even on my list, but if someone sent me there, I'd go out of curiosity. But a man wants to feel like a man when he's with you. And you have to stop and really think about what makes a man feel like a man. What are the things that really make a man feel like a man? In a woman's eyes, a woman who appreciates him, who is impressed by him. And more than anything, a woman who respects him as a man. Not a woman who's trying to compete with him constantly, but a woman who respects and appreciates men. Not a woman who argues and fights and wants to be right and constantly put him down, but a woman who knows how to talk to a man, how to treat a man with respect and kindness and compassion. Now, does every man deserve that? No. But my best advice for all of you is to learn how to be a class act and not let other people, especially men, pull you down to their level. So always take the high road. Learn how to always take the high road and be a lady. It doesn't mean you put up with crap from men who are not treating you well. If a man, is constantly canceling dates, or he's disrespectful, he's flirting with other women around you, I could go on, but you have to have high standards of how you want to be treated, but you don't have to throw a fit. You don't have to have a conversation where you tell him what a jerk he is and how dare he. You can learn how to be a lady and take the high road and just say next. But it's learning how not to have to put men down or lecture them. Even if a guy was a jerk and you were on a date and he was flirting with all these other women, he knows he's being a jerk. He knows that that's not cool or how you treat a woman, right? And if you give him a lecture about that, he's not going to feel badly about it or feel bad. He's going to say, oh God, and he's going to roll his eyes and he's going to be like, yeah, I don't need a lecture from you, lady. The woman he's going to respect is the woman who won't take any crap from guys and who is going to just say, you know what, we're not a match. And that's it. Or I'm not a good match for you. And take the high road. The more you do that, the better you're going to feel about yourself. And I don't mean doing that in an arrogant way, although it always feels pretty good to take the high road. I will tell you, the more you start taking it, the better it feels. Yeah, it really does feel good when other people are being jerks. It really feels good to take the high road. One of our listeners said, hi, Lisa, I gave up on a relationship where there was poor communication via phone in the beginning. So, Maria, what I would say to you is that a lot of men are not great communicators, and especially in the beginning when they don't know you well. I have a lot of clients who are very dismissive if they don't get texts and if they don't get they don't get, a lot of phone calls and all, but some guys just aren't great communicators and they don't like the phone. Sometimes they feel when they talk to a woman on the phone that they get trapped, that there's going to be a long conversation and that the woman is just going to want to talk and maybe most guys don't hang out on the phone and just talk for long periods of time. Some do, but not all of them. So it's really important that you ask and that you actually have a conversation about that with him. And you really give space for that, and not just write a guy off, but talk to a man and see if you can find some kind of mid-ground where you both, where you say to him, look, if you don't want a long conversation, I'm totally fine if you just say hi and, we check in with each other, and you can always say, hey, I gotta go. I can't wait to see you on Friday, but it would be lovely to get a phone call once in a while. So it's also how you ask for it. A lot of women, one of the things that's a turnoff for some men is that we don't often know the right way to request something from a man. And when we do it, we say it in a way that makes them feel like they've already messed up and we're already mad at them, and they didn't even know what they did wrong. And so some women, if a guy wasn't calling as much as they wanted him to, they would say, you never call me. Why don't you ever call? It would be nice if you'd call once in a while. I'd like to hear the sound of your voice. And if you say it that way to a man, he's going to feel like he did something wrong already, and you've never even told him what you wanted. And so it would be more effective just to say, like I said before, boy, I love hearing your voice. I like getting your texts, but I love hearing your voice. And if you want to call me once in a while, that would be wonderful, just to check in. And it doesn't have to even be long. I know guys don't love talking on the phone all the time. So if you need to get off, that's cool. Well, we can make it short, but I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear the sound of your voice. And phone calls always means so much to me. So it's how you ask. It's putting it out there and asking in a wonderful, inviting, sweet way that makes him go, okay, I can do that. Instead of, oh my God, I've already let her down. She's angry at me, right? I've already messed up. So yeah, it's learning how to communicate and ask for what we want, but in a feminine way. Back to the subject at hand, if I'm so wonderful, why haven't I been caught? A lot of you are leading with your credentials, with your resume, and you measure how wonderful you are the same way guys are measuring how, what a catch they are. Because I have a job, I have a car, a cool car, I travel, I'm educated, I make, X amount of money every year, I own my own home. All of those things are great, but in today's world, those are pretty much expected. It's expected that you have a career. It is expected that you have a home. It's expected that you have money in the bank, that you may have, started a retirement and all. So all of those things, while they, yes, those are wonderful credentials, they don't make you a good catch as a woman. As a man, if you're looking for a provider, protector, somebody who's going to treat you to wonderful meals, if you want to have a man who is going to contribute financially, maybe even a little bit more than you do, you're going to look at those things with a guy and they're going to impress you. But for a man, he isn't impressed by your income, your home, how many friends you have. Those are not the things that are going to make a man want to be with you. He is going to want to connect with you as a woman. He wants to see how you make him feel and if you bring out his masculine side. He's looking for a woman who is grounded, emotionally intelligent, thoughtful, compassionate, and playful. Men want women who are fun, not women who sit around and analyze every little thing. And, well, I wonder about this and what about that? And, what were you thinking? And where are we going? And they want women who are just fun, who laugh, who play, who tease, who bring out their masculine side. And they want some deep conversation. They want a soft place to land. If they're having trouble at work, they want a woman who's mature enough not to go, oh, he's going to lose his job. Oh my God, I don't think I can be with a guy like that. He wants a woman who's going to say, oh my gosh, my guy is struggling. He's having some issues at work. And he's coming to me. He feels that it's okay, that he will still be a man in my eyes if he shares this with me. And I'm not going to fix it. I'm not going to tell him what to do. I'm just going to be there and I am going to listen. And when he's all done, I may look at him and say, honey, what can I do for you? What do you need from me right now? And you're going to trust that because he's a grown-ass man, he is going to know. He'll ask you for what he needs. And if he doesn't, then you just say, well, if that changes and you need anything, you let me know. And that's how you're going to make him feel like a man. And you will say to him, I believe in you and I know you're going to figure this out. And thank you for sharing what's going on with me. That's how a grown, mature, emotionally mature adult woman handles a situation like that. And when you learn how to do that, your guy will come to you and open up to you and actually share his life with you. And if he's not, and you're being supportive and you're holding that space for him, then maybe he's not your guy. But you shouldn't have to pull teeth. You shouldn't feel like you're beating at a door that won't open. But you have got to also become the kind of woman that can do that, because great guys, they're looking for that in a partner. They are looking for that. My husband tells me everything. If he had a hard session with a client, if he's feeling down, if he's not feeling well, health-wise, he never has to feel like he needs to put up a front with me. There's always room for him to be exactly where he is. And I create that space for him consciously because I love him. But you're going to have to do that for your man. And this is what really great men are aching for. They're longing for this. And you don't have to be the youngest, fittest, most beautiful woman in the world to find a man who's going to appreciate a woman like you. A woman who has heart and compassion and can create that kind of beautiful, loving, safe space for a man. And trust me, when you can do that, men will want to catch you. They will want to be around you because so few women know how to really genuinely do this for a man. Create this kind of safe space, this emotionally naked space where you can get emotionally naked and he can get emotionally naked, and the two of you can just be yourselves without competition, without forcing each other, without, holding back or measuring what you're about to say and second guessing yourself. This is what really creates eternal love. This kind of beautiful, deep, emotional nakedness. So this is what we teach in my program, one of many aspects of this journey. I have created a step-by-step roadmap for finding what I call the guardian of your soul. You can learn more about what we do by going to lisashield.com. Click the button on my webinar. Or on my website. It is all over the site, and I think it's on every page. That will take you to my free 45-minute presentation, or you might wind up landing on my shorter 8-minute VSL, which is a video sales letter. But both of those will tell you more about my process, my approach, and the work I do. I'm going to just say to you, could you eventually meet your guy? Will you eventually meet your guy? Maybe. You can spend more time listening to my podcasts or my Facebook Lives and trying to figure it out on your own. Why would you waste time? If you really want love, if you really want to get to the bottom of this, if you really just want a solution and you want to stop with all the trial and error and thinking that it's going to self-correct, then get help. Find a coach who can help guide you through this process and get it solved so you can have the most beautiful thing in life, a partner, a loving man who just wants to take care of you and make you happy and have fun with you and enjoy this beautiful life that we've been given. I am so grateful to myself, to the powers that be, to online dating, to jdate.com in specific, for bringing this, this beautiful man into my life that has been the most precious gift I've ever gotten. And for the last 20 years of being with this beautiful human being who is everything in the world to me. And I know a lot of people will say, Lisa, you got lucky. Not everybody finds a guy like Benjamin. I don't believe that for a second. I don't think I'm lucky. I worked my butt off to get where I am. I faced my every fear. I looked at myself every which way from Sunday. I faced my deepest, darkest fears about myself and all the reasons I thought no one would ever love me. And I still learned to love myself in the face of it, and then find one beautiful man who would love me back. And everybody can have this. Everyone. It's up to you if you're ready and willing to do the work, but you can have this, and I can show you how. So do yourself a huge favor. Go to lisashield.com, click the button all over my website to watch my presentations, and stay to the end. That's where you can book a call with a member of my team, and they will show you how my 12-week emotionally naked dating program can help you find the guardian of your soul. Please like and rate this podcast. I have been on Zoom all day long and I am getting tongue-tied. I think this is, I did two other podcast interviews and this. So I have been on Zoom almost all day. Please rate and like the podcast. Tell your friends, your girlfriends, your guy friends, your mothers, brothers, fathers, sisters, aunts and uncles and cousins and nieces and nephews and whoever else about this podcast and about our Sunday broadcast, which is called Getting Inside the Right Male Mind. In that podcast, I interview my husband, Benjamin, and also some other great men who come across my path so that you can hear inside the minds of really good men, hear how they think, hear their fears, hear their passions, and hear it from the guy's perspective. So listen to that one too. And if you have any further suggestions for topics, please send those suggestions to podcast@lisashield.com. I am Lisa Shield, if you haven't figured out. I look forward to seeing you next time, and good luck finding the guardian of your soul.